Hi again. We're looking at the Gospel reading for this weekend, and this time it's Luke chapter 21 from verse 5 onwards. So I'll just read it first. One day people were standing around talking about the temple, remarking how beautiful it was, the splendour of stonework and its memorial gifts. Jesus said, "All this you're admiring so much. The time is coming when every stone in that building will end up as a heap of rubble." They asked him, "Teacher, when is this going to happen? What clue will we get that this is about to take place?" He said, "Watch out for the doomsday deceivers. Many leaders are going to show up with forged identities claiming, I'm the one and the end is near. Don't fall into any of that. When you hear of wars and uprisings, keep your head and don't panic. This is routine history and no sign of the end." He went on, "Nations will fight against nation and rulers fight against rulers over and over. Huge earthquakes will occur in various places. There will be famines. You'll think of the times, at times that the very sky is falling. But before any of this happens, they'll arrest you, hunt you down and drag you to court and jail. It'll go from bad to worse, dog eat dog. Everyone at your throat because you carry my name. You'll end up on the witness stand called to testify. Make up your mind right now not to worry about it. I'll give you the words and wisdom that will reduce all your accusers to stammers and stutters. You'll even be turned in by parents, brothers, relatives and friends. Some of you will be killed. There'll be no telling who will hate you because of me. Even so, every detail of your body and soul, even the hairs of your head, is in my care. Nothing of you will be lost. Staying with it, that's what is required. Stay with it to the end. You won't be sorry. You'll be saved." Amen. Now, Jesus maybe talks about some things that we might relate to the future here. We could maybe shy away from things to do with the future. Admittedly, I'm thinking about the future this weekend. I'm being made to think about time. I think I'll be posting this on my last day of my 40s. And so as I approach 50 and think about what does all that look like and think, am I really in this category called 50? And yet I'm very proud of it and very pleased about it. I'm thinking, wow, the past moves so quickly, the future comes upon us so quickly. But in this story here that we read about Jesus' words, there's a lot going on that is about the past, the future, the present. There's different layers of things going on. There's suggestion that Jesus is connecting with some prophecies from the Old Testament, from Daniel, and that connects with some of his hearers. There's the present day things that are happening in that setting to do with the Roman occupation of the land. And maybe there's things to come, things that will happen beyond the lifetime of these people involved as well. So there's a lot going on. There's different layers of things going on. And maybe just we need to acknowledge this in Jesus' words. We shouldn't get too caught up in trying to figure out exactly what Jesus is saying, because there are different layers of things going on. But there are things that we can really hear from this story and from what we see in this Bible passage. There's people around Jesus who are getting obsessed by buildings. They're admiring the great wonders of the buildings, the religious buildings, the temple that they are in. And that happens, of course, today. And of course, buildings are inspiring awe-inspiring places. And I love going into big, majestic buildings, and maybe primarily cathedrals and huge churches. But we've got to be very careful. We've got to know their place. Because Jesus was saying, look, as great and as majestic as this temple is here in Jerusalem, it will be tossed. The stones will be tossed over. Maybe even think about the church buildings that you know and maybe even love. They'll not last forever. Those stones will be tossed. They will come to nothing at some point. And Jesus wants us to get not just away from buildings, but away, to be able to step back from things where we get obsessed with religious institutions and these man-made elements, and just step back and see God and what is God saying and doing. Jesus refers to other things that happen in the world, in society. Wars happen then and wars happen now, of course. Persecution will happen during these times, and we see persecution now. We see that things will go against, in many ways, the followers of Jesus, the true followers of Jesus. We think of people who are actively persecuted because they're followers of Jesus in different places around the world right now, in their own settings. I think of people that I've spoken to here in Ireland, in churches or maybe in direct provision hostels, who have fled from another part of the country because they're persecuted for the faith, because they can't just have a freedom to express who they are and their worship of God and their following of Jesus. And I think of people maybe I've also met when I was in Calais in northern France, who are fleeing persecution because of their faith. I think of many people here who stand up for love and truth, and who are also pressurized by religious institutions because they have a clarity that the following Jesus and expressing that wholehearted love of God comes first before an adherence to an institution or to a group of people that exercise a type of power of themselves. And whenever they put their love of God and their love for their neighbour first, often they are attacked for doing so. And that happens within Ireland today. So it is important that we step back from whatever these things are. And some of these things are things that we love and things that are okay and good in themselves. So much so that Jesus even references family here. Of course, our families are there to love us and should be. And we should be a part of love within our families. But the fact that Jesus references family here and in other places is encouraging us to say, look, we've got to always step back and say, what is crucial here? What is important? Are we putting true love and faith in action for those around about us first? And even when we do that, there may be times when those even closest to us could attack us for loving our neighbours. So I think there's a lot here about stepping back and seeing the importance of these things. It is time, and in these times, especially in times whenever the church can either feel marginalised and where people are cynical about church, it is important in these times for the true followers of Jesus to show up. It's time for Jesus' followers to be wholehearted about our love and our embrace, and not hold back and not be backward about our true identity, not some mere pseudo-religious add-on, but to stand up for the beauty of what we've got to offer. The world out there sometimes acts like it wants half-heartedness in love, but it doesn't really. It doesn't want it, and it doesn't deserve it. In fact, the world doesn't need that. What the world needs, what people need, what ordinary down-to-earth people need, is for those who claim to be about love, those who claim to be about embrace, those who claim to be about the radical wholeheartedness of Jesus following, to stand up for themselves and be the people that we are called to be in this world, to live out our lives with that love, with that wholeheartedness, with that joy, and with that messiness, with the issues that we have and the challenges that we all journey with, just to be real as well, and to stand up and be proud with humility in what Jesus calls us to love God and to love our neighbour. Thank you.